can you, I suppose the big one from our point of view, can you talk us through Charlie and what he hasn't done?
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple for Charlie. He's trying to give everything he's got out there at the moment. His form's just not quite where he want to be in 5 games. He's kicked 6 goals, I think, and he's had his 8 to 10 possessions a game, which we would like it to be a bit more than that, and he knows that. He's doing everything he can. He's trained incredibly hard to catch up on some lost ground. Let's not be confused with the fact that he's had a long 10 months out of the game where it's taken him a while, and he's got back, and pretty good effort to get back, to be honest. And he's had some other battles himself, so it's as simple as just not quite getting enough done, and he can't try any harder.
Seems like there's a pretty wide range of opinions on Charlie. Internally, I spoke to one of the players yesterday, and he said, we maybe have to lower expectations a little bit given the injury that he had coming back from, and then externally someone came out and said, he's really overrated. Where are you on this whole scale of Charlie, which seems to cover...
No, Charlie's really important to our team. I think that's as simple as that. I think we inside understand how important he is to us, and when he's at his absolute best, what he does for the rest of the team. People outside will always, as we always talk about, there's always outside opinions. We respect them, we listen to them, we don't always take notice of them.
Is he physically limited in any way, Kenny, since he come back? Is he still...
Physically, only way he'd be physically limited is he hasn't had the greatest preparation, clearly. When you have 10 months away, it's a long time to catch up, and AFL football is really hard. That doesn't mean he can't come back and play a game for us and the next week, the week after. Sometimes just a bit of confidence is a good thing too, and feel good about marking the ball and having shots at goal.
Did you think you were consistent with him for a bit longer? Or
yeah, absolutely.
The 5 weeks?
Yeah, no, absolutely we have. We understand his importance to us, so we haven't made the decision lightly, but we think we've made a decision based on giving us the best chance to win this week, and that's the critical component for us. We have to win this week.
Any issues with his work when he hasn't got the ball, defensive running?
No, he's usually pretty good and pretty honest in that space more often than not. But again, if you talk about his physical conditioning, there'll be some challenges for him because he hasn't had, like every other player this year, most players have had a great interrupted long pre-season, long season. Charlie's sort of caught up in a hurry.
So what does that do to your forward line? Is it straight?
Looks pretty obvious. It looks pretty obvious, doesn't it?
Paddy plays the exact same role, Charlie?
Yeah, Paddy will play a similar role to Charlie. Obviously, he certainly has a bit more ability to obviously go in the ruck for us. So where we've used Dougal, we can use Paddy a little bit more. So it gives us a bit more flexibility around that.
At the start of the year, Dougal and Paddy have played a bit of forward, but now they're your 2 key forwards. Are they?
It's our surprise attack.
In a position to shoulder that responsibility?
So Paddy certainly is, and Dougal's learning, not just as a forward, he's learning as a defender as well, so he's becoming quite the utility for us with his size and height. It's a real advantage because he can go in the ruck, he can go down back, and he can play up forward. But is he the finished product? Absolutely not.
All the talk seems to be make or break, elimination final, come early, and that sort of thing. Is that coming from you, or is that from the players?
Oh no, I think it's a reality of how close the competition is. It's not absolute make or break. We all get that. There's opportunity, but for us, we want to treat it like we need to win this week, and clearly we should be treating that like every week we want to win. It's a great opportunity for us to take on another good team. We've had a good stretch of good teams in the last 5 or 6 weeks, and it's been really challenging for us. Sometimes successful, sometimes unsuccessful. So this week we need to be very aware of the competition that we're playing against and how good they have been last week, and know that we play our game the way we can play it. They'll also be worried about us.
So there's more playing your style.
Always is. It always is. It's always about what we need to do the best to challenge the opposition, but you're also respectful of what they bring.
And with Mop, it was just, you've stuck with him for a long time, but is it just he needs to get more on the footing, get some confidence?
I think he was fine on the ball. I think one of the things with us with Stephen is he's given what he's got as far as trying to get the work now. Like if you look at the way he runs and the way he works, he's not dropped off in any there. He just hasn't made the most of his opportunities. I think 17, 18 possessions is a good number for a high half forward in most games. And last week you see him a couple of times have really simple opportunities that Mott's didn't make the most of. And I think when that's happening to Stephen, we know that there's just a little bit of lack of confidence and belief in himself. He'll respond. He's incredibly resilient himself, and I think he accepts and understands it more than people, I reckon, understand that. He knows when his form's a little bit off, and he's aware of it, so he'll go back and play well.
What did you drop for Ghana in this spot? Okay.
Sorry?
What did you drop for Ghana to come?
It gives us some freedom to do some other things with some of our defenders, which is obvious. You've seen that in the past. We know that we've got a good group of defenders who are all in pretty solid form. So if that means Joel's another one that's in good form, it gives us some flexibility. Joel has played other areas of the ground in his days as well. So they're not as simple and they're not as clear as they sometimes seem.
Will Cam Sutcliffe be terrorising someone this week?
I'm going to refuse to answer that question. I think you're taking the what out of me.
How will you use him though, Kenny?
Cam's got great flexibility, as I've said right from the start. He can play on any player. He can play in any position on the ground, and he can do a job. Last week we seen him do a slightly different job than we've seen the week before. We will wait and see what that surprise is.
Do you think his best role is as a tag, or is it?
I certainly think he can play the role really well, and the last 2 weeks he's done that pretty effectively for us. If we go back to Lockie Neal, he did a good job on restricting Lockie, I thought, in his volume, and he did a good job last week on Boston at restricting his intercept stuff. So we can't be more pleased with what he's bringing to the team.
Boak and Gray both looked right. I know they missed Wednesday, but all good.
Yep, all good, as selected.
And just in terms of, which isn't very hard.
Over to you, Trez.
The Jack Watts, I think, is back out on the track doing a little bit.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, he's actually doing really well, Jack. He's progressing really well with the view of hopefully, if anything, if the absolute best thing is that it's a great pre-season. Because he was one of the unfortunate stories of the year, wasn't he? Because he started to really find a spot in our team as a defender, and that was really exciting. And he had a terrible injury, so it was just great to see him back. He's a pretty important person around the club too. He brings a bit of energy and excitement.
So yeah, he won't play this year, wouldn't think, but definitely round one. So
I would say he's highly unlikely to play a game this year, but Jack would hate me to rule him out, so I won't do that to him today.
Just another bloke who was out there saying, Boyd Woodcock's he getting close?
Yeah, he is. Played some really good footy. He's been incredible. Boyd was a real late pick in the draft, but he's kicked 17, 18 goals, maybe 20 goals nearly in the sample. He's played well every week. He plays a role as a small forward who can put a fair bit of pressure on the opposition and still hit the scoreboard. So good on him. You never know how far away you are sometimes, and all you can do is be consistent. He's done that really well.
He's sort of stuck behind a couple of other young kids, really, isn't he, in that sort of stuff?
Yeah, that's one of our challenges in that space. We've got a lot of younger boys who are all learning their game. So, you're sort of hoping that they'll be able to do something on any given week more than being really sure about their performance at this stage. And Boyd's one of them boys at sample level who's consistently done a good job. So, good on him.
Let's change tomorrow. Can you get the result from the past month or so? Is there one aspect that you really highlight, or is it just general?
No, I think it's normally not as simple as just one part. You need to get some control of the ball. There's no doubt about that, and get the ball in our half. That works for us usually pretty well. But if we break down in our defence or our offence or our contest stuff, against a high quality team. I mean, what have we had? Richmond, Brisbane, Geelong. I'm just thinking of the teams we've played in that period. Adelaide. We've played 5 or 6 top 8 sides at this point in time, and so we know and we're learning quickly that you've got to be absolutely on top of it to get it right. We've done it a couple of times and done it really well and had a result, but as soon as you drop off, you get in trouble. So it's all parts of our game. It can't be as simple as one part.
Ken, is there any scope? I know you haven't got them for 3 this week, Dixon, Wright and Wysack. Could you ever play all 3 in one team?
Yeah, that's our wish, and our want a little bit, if we can get them all in good shape together and in physically good competing shape. And we haven't had that opportunity this year with it for a number of reasons, whether that be form or whether that be injury. And we've been challenged a little bit, but I still believe that at the right moment they can operate together and operate really successfully for us.
Do you feel that as a coach, I know your opinion on outside noise, but do you feel, hear, notice any vitriol from fans at all after a couple of losses?
Yeah, I feel, hear, notice. Yeah, I'm sure I do. Any coach does. You understand that the job's got a great responsibility. I'm responsible to all those people who want our footy club to do well, and I'm not frightened of that. I'm embracing that and challenging myself and the team to make sure that we deliver on what they would like more consistently, and we'll eventually get there at some point. It's a challenge.
I was going to say, you still feel like you're close to delivering on where you think you're heading?
Yeah, we're not that far away from having had good form. We've had a couple of games in the last couple of weeks, and even last week. There was moments in the game against Richmond. I think everyone in the room would say as potentially getting it going is what I think is the language that I'm hearing, and they're getting it going at this time of the year, and they look quite dangerous. We closed to within 2 and 14 and 15 points a couple of times in that game, where if we had been able to, and if we look back and think of some of the execution that we created for them, they got back on top because of some of our play. So we're not that far away.
That's all you can do, sort of lament near misses then, I guess?
Oh no, we work on them. You acknowledge them and you work on them and go to work to make it better. All good?
Thanks.
Thank you for your
Good
time.
luck. Get the win.
We're going to try.